we won't stop this. Like if the penalty should not get like increased or something, the death penalty, or there should not be a life imprisonment for that juvenile, how come the crimes will stop? Hello and welcome. You're watching CEN News. So today here is with me Mr. Pradeep Dutta, the most renowned journalist and the bureau chief of Times Now. So let's interact with sir. Hello sir.
Hi.
इट्स गुड टू हैव यू हेयर सर. मेरा जो पहला सवाल है आपसे, अभी आज के बारे में बात करते हैं. आज जम्मू बंद की कॉल दी गई, जो चैम्बर ने जम्मू बंद की कॉल दी गई थी. सर व्हाट यू थिंक, जो रिलायंस स्टोर्स है जो यहाँ इम्प्लीमेंट होने की बात की जा रही है, अकॉर्डिंग टू यू आपको क्या लगता है कि ये एक सही डिसीजन था? क्योंकि अगर बात करें तो लोगों को जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी मिलेगी इस चीज़ से. सो व्हाट यू थिंक, वाज इट अ गुड डिसीजन और नॉट?
देखिए, आजकल के ग्लोबलाइज्ड वर्ल्ड में यू कैन स्टॉप पीपल फ्रॉम कमिंग ओवर टू दिस प्लेस. ऑब्वियसली व्हाट द कस्टमर्स आर लुकिंग एट, customers are always looking at the good product, good service, because satisfied customer is always the best advertisement. If the customer is satisfied, I don't think that you can stop someone.
But what about that small shops? If we'll
Everywhere what one has to do, it's like, again, you have to compete, you have to be innovative, you have to be more creative. So what actually, you can't say that you have, because you are getting a kind of a competition, so you'll be preventing and blocking them from coming over to this place. You will be creating stumbling blocks. Buns are not going to sort out purpose. What actually they have to do is they have to also innovate themselves and be more creative how they can sell their products. We have seen that many of the shopping malls have been coming up all over India, but still there are shops they are doing so well. So what they have to do is they have to, one, the quality of the product, and then they have to ensure that that the good rates are to be maintained, so they are not going to fleece the customer. That's what actually is required. Problem with the Jammu is that, have you ever found a Jammu food here? If somebody comes over to this place and asks me that they want to have a Jammu food, I hardly have anything to offer, because at the end of the day they end up having Wazwan. So the way the Kashmir was able to sell Wazwan, we were not able to sell our food products there. So we are not able to sell our cuisine. So that's what actually the Jammu people require. So the same problem happened when the trains started coming from Pathankot to Jammu and Jammu to Katra. So obviously the business will be shifting, because the people will start going to Katra and they will not be staying here. So what we have to do is we have to look for ways and means where we can have more footprints of people and the tourists coming over and staying here in Jammu, so that we can give boost and flip to the economy. When the bigger stores will be coming, obviously they will be providing employment, because in a smaller shop there will be only one boy or two boys at the most, if it is a bigger one. But once the bigger store will be coming, that will give them a flip to economy. That will also give, when we talk about the smart city, I think smart city with the smart stores are also very required. And the third thing is about the employment to the youngsters. That is a need of an hour. So how come we stop it from doing so? So all is required is that we have also to be more creative, innovative, and only then things are real.
But implementing 100 Reliance stores in Jammu, is it like?
Because Reliance has come out with a statement. They said that we are not coming out with 100 stores. I don't know where from the people came to know that 100 stores will be coming. Because if you look at very small market, Jammu city, you think that the 100 stores will be able to operate here in Jammu division itself, if we talk about the Jammu province, because one store will be sufficient for the Doda region, one will be sufficient for Kishtwar town. I think one will be sufficient for each of the districts. So even if the Jammu city will be having at the most 2 or 3 stores will be there. So I don't think that, basically I think there is somewhere an exaggeration or the communication gap. But yes, we have to be prepared for that, because when the globalization, Manmohan Singh opened up economy, that time also the similar questions were raised. But see, over the period of time, within 12 days, he was like, with a magic wand, he was able to change the economy of the country. So today, if we are just wearing all those branded products, thanks to that opening up of the economy, so we can't just close doors and live here in a cocoon and say, or we can have that kind of a ostrich mentality where we are digging our head in the soil and then say that we can't see. We have to open up our eyes and look at the things and then work in that direction.
So let's talk about the Darbar Moon. Darbar Moon, recently, it's like abhi koi Darbar Moon nahi hoga. But when at the time when we'll talk about that Farooq Abdullah, when he was in power, and उस टाइम पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा स्ट्राइक्स हुई जब मुंह को रोकने की बात की गई, काफ़ी स्ट्राइक्स हुई, प्रोटेस्ट हो गए इस चीज़ के बारे में. तो अभी तो जम्मू पीपल आर ऑल्सो अपसेट फ्रॉम दिस थिंग, लाइक कि मुंह को स्टॉप हो गया, क्योंकि अभी जम्मू हमेशा जम्मू के यहाँ के लोग हमेशा वेट करते वर ईगरली वेटिंग, बिकॉज कश्मीरी पीपल have a higher buying capacity and obviously. तो उस चीज़ के related आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं कि अगर दरबार मूव अभी रोका गया, was it a good decision or not?
See, frankly speaking, this is the one decision of the government which I don't agree with, because for me, Darbar Mu is very important. Because already we have seen that with the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits, it has not only been the 300 kilometers between Jammu and Kashmir, it has been the psychological distance that is more than 3,000 kilometers between the two communities. The same way we are going to increase that psychological distance between the Jammu people and the Kashmiri people. Whereas we are talking about integration, when we are talking about integration, that means we have to bring people together. It was all about commingling of thoughts. It was about the ideas. It was meeting point. It was like different cultures coming together. So I always believed that this link was really very important. So far as there has been a different point of view. Some people said that unnecessarily we had been spending about 200 crore on shifting of files. But now with the
What about the 1,000 crores that people?
it's about the economy also, because the Jammu economy is totally dependent on this thing. Because for 6 months, when the Kashmiris come out to this place, you rightly said the purchasing and the buying capacity of Kashmiris, because most of the time they feel that here that goods are better, cheaper, and they feel that here the shopkeepers treat them so well. So they love to buy things from here, because most of the time they are coming out to this place. They want to have their flats properly decked up. So then they go back also and they take this so many items from this place. So this also contributes to the economy. And then when the people come out to this place, they stay also. Everybody is not having the government flat. So they are staying, it's not the government accommodation. So they are staying at different places. That means they are paying the rent also. So again, that way contributing to the economy of this particular region. But more than that, what actually is required is when in today's world we are talking about cultural exchange. So cultural exchange is really very important. मुझे लगता है गुर्बत आ जाएगी. गुर्बत जो है कि when we will not be having a kind of a cultural exchange. So that way Darbar Mu is really very important. I don't want that the way it has happened between the Muslims and the Pandits, and the same thing should not happen with the Kashmiris and the Jammus, because this 300 kilometers should not become 30,000 kilometers psychological distance that we never ever meet.
सर अगर बात करें, अभी हाल ही में एक इंसिडेंट सामने आया हुआ है कि उत्तर प्रदेश में एक लड़की थी, शी वाज अ टीनेजर. तो वो दिल्ली से यूपी ट्रैवल कर रही थी. तो इन द मीन टाइम उसकी फैमिली जो है वो नीचे उतरे बस से, और जो कंडक्टर का एसोसिएट है ही रेप्ड एंड द अक्यूज्ड वाज अ जुवेनाइल. तो अगर हम पीछे 2015 की भी बात करें, जो निर्भया का केस था, उसमें भी जो एक्यूज था ही वाज आल्सो जुवेनाइल. तो अकॉर्डिंग टू द अमेंडमेंट 37 सेक्शन 3, तो जो जुवेनाइल है उसकी जो सज़ा है वो सिर्फ 3 साल दी जाती है. तो आपको नहीं लगता इस क्राइम को स्टॉप करने के लिए लाइक जुवेनाइल की भी सज़ा, एटलीस्ट देयर शुड बी अ लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट और पेनल्टी फॉर 20 years 30 years, बिकॉज एक लड़की की लाइफ तबाह हो जाती है ये चीज़, इतना बड़ा क्राइम करके. तो इस क्राइम को इतना नेग्लेक्ट किया जा रहा है कि जो हमारे यहाँ पर इंडिया के केसेस है, दिन ब दिन एवरी डे वी सी लाइक द क्राइम्स आर गेटिंग ऑन हाइक. सो व्हाट डू यू हैव?
आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा. You rightly said, because after every 15 minutes there is one rape in India. But if we talk about the justice, it is delayed, or it is mostly denied. And we saw this thing happening in many of the cases, whether it was Nirbhaya case, whether it was a Kathua a rape case also. There had been one juvenile. Most of the time, the juvenile goes scot-free almost after 3 years is nothing. And that's also one of the reasons that these juvenile commit that crime, because they know that they will not be punished for this heinous crime that they are committing. Some people know about this, and some are not really knowing about it, because they normally you find that youth means all about aggression. So that they want to do something that's unusual. So they keep on doing certain things, and I think that overall there's a need for change that is at the societal level. When I talk about the societal level, I'm talking about the parenting, because parenting nowadays, you hardly find there's any connect between the parents and the children, because most of the time we are so busy with our mobile phone. There's hardly any interaction between the father, mother, son, daughter. So there is no interaction. So that, in fact, I think that fabric, once again, we need to restage that fabric, the family fabric that need to be stronger, where we used to talk about, because nowadays people have started even talking about the joint family, where everybody used to in fact tell what is good and what is bad. So you have to channelize energy of the youth in the right direction. And second thing is, again, that's happening at the school level also, where we find that the teacher and the student connect is, because teacher have to be a little bit stricter, because good that you want to be very friendly with. At times what happens, that also encourages and emboldens the youngster to do something really wrong. And then third thing is really about the law which we are talking about. Yes, there has to be stringent different laws against them, because many a times this is a kind of a being juvenile. They use it as an alibi to go scot-free, and then that should not have happened. I think in most of the cases this has happened, really unfortunate. But then there is one more thing, because if somebody is 13, 14 or 15, he has got a life ahead. We have to give a chance to a person to change also, because one can't be habitual offender, fine, but somebody has committed a heinous crime, no doubt about it. But then there is one thing people say, that we have to end crime but not kill the criminal or end the criminal, because if you kill a criminal, there is a death penalty. You will be like, fine, the person is hanged, but what is this as a death?
If we'll talk about the juveniles, like most of the cases that are coming right now, if we're talking about a rape case, they are all the juveniles. Mostly, really, we'll find like the accused one will be the like about 20 or 21. So if we won't stop this, like if the penalty should not get like increased or something, the death penalty, or there should not be a life imprisonment for that juvenile, how come the crimes will stop? Like the parents are having their own role, but we cannot stop that person, that guy, that accused to go out. We cannot stop a girl. We cannot put that girl into the cage. So
See, earlier there used to be, like, for example, if somebody had to get a license, he has to be about 18 years of age. But nowadays, boy is just only 3 or 4 year old, they are having a mobile phone. And when you are having a mobile phone, that means you are sitting in one corner of your room, and then you're checking things. Nobody's keeping a check on you whether you're going through the pornographic material or not. So that's where I think the parenting has to play a very important role. So you have to be always keeping a check. I still remember when we used to study, and those were the days when we used to put comics inside the books. And I remember that my grandmother used to say, this is not the book, this is something different which you are reading. So they used to keep a check, and I still remember my mom and dad used to scold us for that, because most of the time, at least a dinner table is one place. With the dining table, when you are sitting, you are interacting, you are talking about things, you are also trying to inculcate those good habits among the kids. That's really required. But nowadays, I think the interaction level is less, or at all level. I think that's also leading to the crime, because the child is off his own, and whatever he feels like doing, he is doing that. And only law is not going to change things. But yes, at societal level, we have to bring in overall change. We have to be a little bit more stringent. I think 3 years is very less a time. That means some of them really know that it's no punishment. So they will be staying in a juvenile home, almost like enjoying their lifestyle there. So they can go ahead, go scot-free almost. So that, I think the law is to be changed. But I still don't feel that death penalty will be an answer to that. That can't be a deterrent, because you can kill a person, but that way you will not be able to eradicate crime that has already spread its tentacles and creating a lot of problem in the society. As I said, 15 rapes per minute. That itself narrates the sorry state of affairs.
thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views. And this was with me, Mr. Pradeep Dutta, the most renowned journalist and the bureau chief of Times Now. So it was all for today. Stay connected with CN News of Now. If we won't stop this, like if the penalty should not get like increased or something, the death penalty, or there should not be a life imprisonment for that juvenile, how come the crimes will stop?